Hi, Deputy Prime Minister. How are you? Can you hear me?
Hi, good. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. I'm very well. How are you?
I'm doing well.
Good. Thank
Yeah.
you so much for making the time to speak to us. It's much appreciated.
Well, Sam here. Thank you for having us. Yeah.
Yeah, no problem at all.
It's my
Just
great
to let you
pleasure
know,
to see you
it's gonna be a
online.
bit
Yeah.
strange because the camera is here, but actually I'm seeing you on a big monitor that is to my
Okay.
side. So apologies, I'm going to look at you on the monitor
It's okay. Yeah.
rather than looking at you there. So I'm sorry if you think my eye line is a bit strange. I hope that's okay.
No problem. Yeah, I understand everything. Thank you.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So I just want to check. I'll check with my camera that we're recording. We're all happy. We're happy. And if you're happy and your team there are happy, we can just crack on.
Yes, we're happy here and we're all set here. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Fantastic.
So how is
Well,
everything in
look.
Beijing? Everything is okay. I heard that you had some issue in your office yesterday. Yeah.
Yeah,
But
exactly
hope
that. I
everything
mean,
is
there
going
is
on well
so
now.
much COVID in Beijing at the moment. I mean, just everyone.
Well, hope
Everyone has it.
everything goes on well. Yeah.
Myself and the cameraman who are here don't have it. So we've relocated this interview to our home instead.
Well, thank you for your great effort for
It's no
interviewing
problem.
us and
It's no problem.
take care of yourself. Yeah, thank you.
We're just very sorry to have messed
No,
you
it's
around
okay.
yesterday.
It's okay.
It's all a bit
Yeah, we
chaotic.
fully understand. Yeah.
Yeah, we hope that this COVID situation will be over soon now in China, because I think now they can't go back now. There's just too much. Everybody in this city seems to have it at the moment.
Yeah, that's
crazy.
very important to have it eased. Yeah. Well, hope everything will be better soon.
Yeah, I hope so too. So look, Deputy Prime Minister, if you're happy, we'll start the interview properly. Is that all right?
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. Thank you.
Fantastic. So look, again, I'm just going to look at you on the screen over here, if that's okay. So look, firstly, will you tell me a bit about the new railway that you have just opened that's going to link Mongolia and China? Because I know that's a very big and important economic project for your country. What difference do you think it's going to make for Mongolia?
Well, of course, it will make a great difference because we are focusing on implementing our new policy of economic recovery, which is part of this recovery policy. And also the government is focusing on developing creative industries and to build competitive advantage of the country. As you know, Mongolia heavily depend on export of coal, iron ore, and copper concentrate. So this makes the country to focus on developing our major infrastructures, and that's why we have this number of railway projects implemented, and some of them still under development, but with public-private partnership, we were able to complete this construction of the new railway within 6 months, which is a record implementation of this kind of project.
Yeah, and just how, because I know a big part of this was the very disrupted trade between Mongolia and China because of the COVID-19 measures in China. Just how much economic damage has China's zero COVID policy done to Mongolia?
Well, because of this stringent border control, because of the COVID-19 pandemic, Mongolia has been in deep recession for the last couple of days, specifically during the last 2.5 years. But we were able to manage this with our Chinese parties to improve the situation as much as possible, considering the close relationship between our two countries. But still, it is causing great damage to not only our economy, but to the whole society. And it's affecting every sector in the country, as we have two big neighbors. And Mongolia is heavily dependent on import and export throughout big neighbors. So we are managing this as quick as possible, but still the post-pandemic problems and this international escalation of the geopolitics are still affecting us heavily.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the news that China is, it seems, going to open up again, that zero COVID might be over. Is that very good news for Mongolia? Do you hope it came sooner? I mean, is it too
Yes,
late?
of course, it's very good news to us, and we hope that the situation in China will be under control, and also the restriction of 3 years almost will be eased as soon as possible, and that everything is better in China and in Mongolia as well as in the region. That's what we are looking forward to have it as the improvement of the current situation in all sectors.
Yeah. I mean, do you wish, though, that this reopening had come sooner?
I'm sorry? Yeah.
Do you wish that, would you have liked to have seen this reopening come much sooner?
Yes, we are waiting for the news come sooner, and also everything will be eased, especially for our economy. It is important that our neighbor China ease its restrictions as quick as possible. Yeah.
How much time do you think it will take for the Mongolian economy to recover from the last 2 years and the impact that zero COVID has had on the economy?
Well, if everything is quickly and then goes well within the next 1 year, we think the economy would be much better. If the border stringent control is eased and export is increased, and our export income is, if it's increased, then it will help the economy greatly. And this, if everything goes well, we are looking at no more than 1 year to have our economy in much better condition. Yeah. Yeah.
Are you worried at all about, because there is clearly now going to be a very, very big and probably very serious wave of COVID-19 infections here in China. Obviously, you share a very long border and there's a lot of movement normally between your two countries. Are you worried about that big wave of COVID-19 infections affecting Mongolia as well?
Well, we have to take preventive measures whether China opens its border or not, because it is still concern of most of the countries, and we don't know what would happen next with this kind of similar pandemic or disease. But we share one of the longest border with China in the world, over almost 3,000 kilometers. So this is something we have to pay attention. That's why our border control agencies, health organizations, including the government, is focusing on working with our Chinese counterparts to make sure that everything is ensured, secure, and safe to continue our trade and economic activities with our neighbor. It's a concern on both sides. Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I want to ask you as well about kind of your other neighbor and Russia and Russian energy, which has been such an important topic around the world. Just how dependent is Mongolia on Russian gas?
Well, Mongolia is almost 100% dependent on Russian gas, and Russia is our partner, but in particular it's both China and Russia are our partner with strategic, comprehensive strategic partnership agreement. And through our north neighbor, Russia, we have all our transportation coming from Europe and carrying all these imported goods. and gasoline, gas products are still provided and transported from Russia. So, on the other hand, the government of Mongolia is focusing on developing its own oil refinery, which is expected to be in operation by 2025. And when it's in operation, it will produce at least less than 50% of the total consumption of oil products.
Yeah. I mean, do you think, I mean, given the war in Ukraine this year,
Yes, one thing
is
is
it
that,
right?
yeah,
Oh,
so
sorry.
one thing is that we are also importing oil products at discounted rate from Russia based on our long-term partnership. Yeah.
And is it, given the war in Ukraine, which has been such an important topic around the world, is it right that Mongolia still buys as much gas from Russia, or should you be looking to diversify and get from other places and other sources?
Well, that's one option we always have to consider. We have to, in terms of price, continued supply, and also secure supply, we still have to, sometimes we also import oil from our south neighbor China when it's needed. But for us, it is important to have continued supply with reasonable price and timely delivery, and also the timely delivery based on the contract we signed with the suppliers.
Yeah. I mean, but, you know, is a country like Mongolia therefore sort of helping to sustain Russia's war effort by not looking to diversify quicker?
Well, as you know, we are sandwiched in between two superpowers, and we do want to diversify not only the gas sector or gasoline products. Mongolia's government priority is to diversify the economy as quick as possible, as much as possible. But we have limited resource internally, especially there is external reasons that we have to overcome through different ways of negotiation and also agreement. And we're not, as you know, we're not, it's a landlocked country. We do have a lot of problems and issues, but the government is working hard to resolve all the issues through all possible ways in a short period of time. And that's why we also set the six-pillar recovery policy of the government, which is aligned to the Vision 2050 of the government of Mongolia, and develop the major infrastructures to promote trade between Eurasia, and also increase the capacity of the border, including energy dependence, to be independent in terms of energy supply. So that's why we are also developing these power plants, hydropower plant in the West, and also working on to push all these renewable energy projects to supply our internal demand, and also try to export it if it's possible. Yeah.
Is there more that you think that other Western countries could do to help a country like Mongolia diversify its energy supply? I mean, is there countries that you would want more cooperation from, for example?
Well, we do want to cooperate with all our neighbors, including our neighbors, two neighbors, Russia and China, and third neighbors. And that's why Mongolia maintains its independent foreign policy with all these neighbors to cooperate as much as possible. That's our intention and that's our policy. Sorry.
Yeah. But are some of those other third countries, do you think they are cooperating with you enough at the moment? Would you like to see countries like Australia or others, do deals with you sooner, essentially?
Well, our third neighbor policy is still very efficient. And our third neighbors like Australia or other West or Asian region countries, they are still expressing their interest to work with us. So we're open. Only we have limited access because of this landlocked country and also logistics, transportation issues. Other than that, there is no problem, and we look forward to improving, strengthening our cooperation, bilateral and multilateral cooperation in all different ways as much as possible.
I suppose, would you say that the last couple of years have been quite difficult given, the last couple of years have been very telling about the difficulties of being sandwiched between two very powerful but two unpredictable neighbours, what with zero COVID and the war in Ukraine. I mean, how difficult has the last 2 years been for a country like Mongolia trying to balance those things?
Well, of course, balancing for a country like Mongolia with few population and vast territory with rich natural resources, it's not easy to balance all these relations and communications, but we are doing all the possible efforts, taking all the possible efforts based on our foreign policy, open and also flexible, open policy.
Yeah. Is it right that Mongolia has facilitated the building of a huge gas pipeline between Russia and China?
Well, it's not a new thing. It's been under discussion for the last almost 20 years. And when the current president of Mongolia visited Russia in 2019, when he was Prime Minister of Mongolia, signed MOU to initiate this project with our two neighbors. And we think it's not only for the benefit of Mongolia or Russia, it's for the benefit of the region and international, good.
I want to ask you as well briefly about the protests that have been seen in the capital in the last week or so, and a lot of those protests is around alleged corruption in the coal mining industry. To what degree does the government believe that corruption is rife in the coal mining industry in Mongolia?
Well, first of all, I would like to emphasize that Mongolia is the only functional democracy in the region, and we fully accountable to our citizens. Our constitution provides the freedom of opinion and speech, faith and expression, human rights and peaceful assembly. Activists allege Mongolia's coal industry is corrupt, and they demand expediting of the alleged case to be verified and given stringent punishment for those culpable of corruption. From December, I think you already have this information or news. From December 4th, citizens have started protests and demonstrations expressing their discontent with the alleged coal theft scandal and corruption allegations. On December 5th, protesters broke into the government palace and at least 8 police officers were injured. The protests are largely peaceful, I should say, and despite occasional provocations and incitement for illegal activities. However, we believe that the protests are meant not only against coal theft and scandal. They reveal the people's frustration of escalating inflation and price rising, deteriorating unemployment, as well as they demand for justice and fairness, in particular, transparency of government activities. We have one of the largest coal mines, as you know, in the world. Our economy is heavily dependent on export of these minerals, especially coal export. The coal exports are dominated by a state-owned company, and there is some local companies and private companies, but a state-owned company like this ETT is the largest state-owned coking coal company, plays an important role in the national economy, contributing significant portions of export and tax revenues to the state budget. It also contributes significantly to the export revenues. So that's why people, the activists and the citizens are protesting.
Yeah. I mean, do you accept though that frustrations about the economy and inequality can be laid at the door of the government, and that your government perhaps should do more to help improve people's lives?
Well, the government is taking all the necessary measures and also steps. The government has established a task force with full mandate to review the operations of the relevant state-owned entities. Since taking such actions, the ETT export and the revenues increased. Mongolia's foreign reserves also increased. There were certain issues which is relevant to this scandal. The government has initiated the uncovering of alleged illegal activities and corruption regarding ETT coal transportation and other related issues, and also dismissed management team while appointing a plenipotentiary representative of the government on October 26th. It has also established a task force with mandate to review the operation of including some state-owned railway companies. Since then, the activities of the plenipotentiary representative of the government and task force are continuing and still doing their job, as the government gives regular updates on the ongoing activities to the public and activists. The government always stands for its people and with its people. Our Prime Minister addressed the protest 4 days ago with full pledge to cooperate with the activists, and also strongly demanding an open data of ongoing investigation from the relevant authorities. The government Sorry. It's okay.
I'm sorry. I was going to ask, is there a danger though that, I mean, these are a lot of state-owned companies that have been implicated. Is there a danger that some of that corruption has fed over to people within the government, and that is some of the reason behind the fact that this isn't very transparent?
Well, it has to be transparent. The Prime Minister's political leadership and open dialogue with the public and activists, and we believe we all can come to a common understanding and reach to a peaceful solution as one nation, and also prove those culpable of corruption, and that's what we are looking into. The government held extraordinary cabinet meetings several times in a couple of days, where it also decided and made decisions regarding to the current situation and existing conditions. So this will continue, and there is no doubt we will solve this issue, but we seek our public support. This government is working on to not only have this issue solved, but continue to have more transparency and visibility, not only in the coal sector, but whole economic sector. And working on improving export capacity, and that's what we do. And also this is government that initiated series of strikes implicated to corruption and also instigated the investigation of the alleged coal corruption case. And as you know, since its establishment, as you may already know, the government has been always stating its strong policy and priority to make the citizens' life better and also build strong middle-income society and also stop this corruption or bureaucracy. Our government has been working towards improving not only the political and regulatory and corruption scandals, but also judicial, tax, and environmental and labor system, and enhancing of efficiency of the whole government institutions. Our government has been demonstrated high-level political commitment, as I mentioned earlier, to uncover and address corruption allegations. And currently, law enforcement agencies, including an independent anti-corruption agency of Mongolia, General Office of the Police are investigating all alleged corruption and also bring out, also prove whoever is there with this connected to this coal or other scandal.
Yeah. Do you accept though, because although I hear that you're clearly doing a lot to try and fix this issue now, does the government bear some responsibility for allowing a culture of corruption to develop over many years?
Of course, it is what we have to look into, and what is being looked into for the last couple of years, especially since our existing government were established in 2021. And this is what this government is doing to fix the wrongdoings or mistakes of the past 20, 30 years. And government is not going to, whoever there is in control of the government should and must not repeat whatever is done wrongly in the past. And that's what we are trying to fix, not only by one certain sector or issues, but systematic reform must be done, including improvement of the legal environment, what I just earlier mentioned, judicial, tax, and environmental, labor, including public service, and making all the public services digital and create a strong platform of the e-government. And that's what we are doing. Yes, there were many different mistakes we made in the past, and that's why people also lost trust and confidence in some ways. And of course, the pandemic continued. 3 years of pandemic caused weak economies, even weaker, like Mongolia, dependent on export and dependent on import. And time is also, kind of challenging us, but we are sure that we will overcome these challenges with strong leadership and strong intention and support of the public.
Yeah. Thank you. I have one final question, because I know you need to get off, but one final question about climate change and the coal mining industry. I know Mongolia is incredibly reliant on coal mining. What help do you need from the international community to try and diversify away from coal mining? And do you think there's a degree to which calls for very developed and wealthy countries, for places like Mongolia to focus on climate change, is that sometimes a bit patronizing, you think, given the state of your economy and how important it is to you?
Yes, we need support, technical and also cooperation support from these wealthy and developed countries, like any other developing country. Mongolia is an emerging market with a fast developing economy, and it was a fast developing economy from before the pandemic. But now we need to cooperate and also strengthen our multi and bilateral relationship with our neighbors, including international organizations and financial institutions who work closely with Mongolia to help each other based on a mutually beneficial cooperation. We need technology solutions, we need know-how, we need experts, and we need financial support based on mutual benefit, and everything is aligned with the new recovery policy of Mongolia. And in terms of climate change, the president of Mongolia announced at the UN Assembly, and we initiated this billions of trees project and plant, grow, and contribute to the green economy. And also we are looking forward and pushing to adopt and bring in new technologies like these renewable energies, whether it's solar or wind or even hydro energy projects to be developed. But Mongolia cannot do it by itself alone. And we cannot just stop the coal consumption and usage, because this is the only resource that this country is living on. And developed countries and wealthy nations, those used and consumed billions of tons of coal in the past century, should assist and help countries like Mongolia developing and also using all its own resources to help the nation, not only the nation, help the world, and also join the global activities to reduce the climate change and climate problems.
Yeah, I suppose it must sometimes feel frustrating. Does it feel frustrating or even angering when wealthy countries are telling you to tackle climate change and not giving you any help to do it?
Well, of course, yeah, they should contribute. I wouldn't say that they're not helping or contributing, but they should reconsider this issue in a higher level and also in a serious way. We can't just change everything as they push, because reality on the ground is different than where they are now and what had been done before, and how the situation was like back in 30 years ago. And we have to be all realistic with the current situation and current conditions and the challenges we are facing. Challenge for every country is facing different, but we have to help each other with all the resources available. As you know, we spend trillions of dollars around the world for war, nuclear weapon, and all different unhuman actions, and everything should be reconsidered, and instead it should be invested and also put into the good and well-being of the humanity and the countries.
Yeah. Look, Deputy Prime Minister, thank you so much for your time. I'm so grateful. It's been really great to speak to you. Thank you for giving us such a generous amount of your time. I'm sorry I'm a bit late finishing.
No, it's okay. It's my pleasure speaking to you, and thank you for organizing and having this interview,
Yeah,
and also
no
have
problem.
our voice heard, to be heard by the world.
Yeah, we're very much hoping to try and visit Mongolia at some point next year to kind of talk about some of these issues in more depth. So, hopefully if we can make that happen, it would be lovely to meet you in person.
I look forward to seeing you in Mongolia, and great
Yes,
to
I'd
see
love to
you,
come.
although it's online, but it's my great pleasure, yeah. Thank
Yeah,
you.
thank
and
you so
have a-
much,
Mr.
have a
Prime
good-
Minister. Thank you,
Yeah,
Helen,
thank
for
you.
the interview.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. It's
Thank you.
lovely to meet you.
Thank you.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.